know who needs to hear this, but diversity is not finding people of color who are the same shade as the white people on your show. Like, that's just not what diversity is. I'm so sorry. Like, just because you found a biracial girl who has a black parent, but she's just as pale as your main character, and you have no one darker than a paper bag on your show, you're not being diverse. You're not being woke. That is still very much asleep. Hi, hello, hey, it's me, Tiana, back at it again for another video, and today we are talking about white women movies. First things first, I'm wearing this hat because the hat is cute. My hair is not. I just dyed my hair. You can kind of see like little peaks of it, and I'm not sure how I feel about it just quite yet, so we're still gonna keep that one under wraps. We're not gonna reveal that one to YouTube yet. So let's just jump right into the video because your girl is known to ramble. So the two movies that I watched was Lady Bird and Booksmart, right? And both of those movies I think came out in 2018, or it might be 2017 2018, but either way, they're both two movies about that were like YA movies that people like really praised and were like, these are really good, these are really smart, like they they're different from the normal YA, and they're like progressive feminist YA movies or something, right? And everyone, I remember I was seeing like a whole bunch of praise for specifically Greta Gerwig, who wrote and directed Lady Bird, and of like Saoirse Ronan of her acting in Lady Bird, and then also I did see a little bit of a critique of Booksmart, of people being like, oh, this is supposed to be a feminist film, but it's very white. And that's like the crux of my opinion on the YA genre in general. It's just very white. And like at this point in 2020, do we still need white coming of age stories? And you might be thinking to yourself, we've been doing YA for however many years, and there's so many different kinds of coming of age stories, but everybody's coming of age has not been shown. Like, there's still stories that we can tell in YA. Or you might feel the opposite way and feel like there's so many stories that it's no need to even continue to make YA movies. We get it at this point, right? But I feel like a lot of what's missing from the genre is just diverse point of view. And when I say diverse point of view, I don't mean black best friends. I don't mean white girl at a black school. I don't mean like group stories where the main person that we're following is white, but everybody else around them is non-white or mixed race or whatever. I'm talking to you, the craft. We need more young adult movies that are told from the perspective of, written and directed by black, brown, Asian people. Like, there needs to be more stories from people in those like groups that are mainstream and are specific to their culture and their coming of ages. Like, one of my favorite movies is Quinceañera, right? And it's a coming of age story about a Mexican American girl who gets pregnant by immaculate conception. I go to church. I'm pretty sure that's right. And the immaculate conception is basically she was dry humping her boyfriend, and he came on her leg, and then it got inside of her vagina, and she ended up pregnant without ever having actual penetrative sex, right? And the story is about her like preparing for her quinceañera as she is also growing bigger because she is pregnant. And she has this cousin who's also a family outcast because he's gay. And we just see like this very beautiful coming of age story about this teenage girl who's 14 years old and pregnant, and in this like very religious Catholic, very Mexican American family with all these beautiful cultural like moments, and also like moments that are like universal and specific to being 14 years old in like whatever the time period it was. I think it was like the early 2000s, right? And then you also have, like, I talked briefly in one of my what I watched this month videos about Premature, which was about a black girl who was graduating high school, and it was the summer between her senior year of high school and her freshman year of college. And she was, like, in her first real serious, like, emotional relationship. It also had a pregnancy storyline. But it was just such a beautiful and, like, specific movie that also fit, like, universal themes of growing up and feeling like you're grown, but you're not really grown, and trying to, like, position yourself in ways and in places that you're not necessarily ready to be in, but you feel like you should be or you want to be in. Like, there's so many and then it's so specific to being a black person in New York in that time period. I think the movie came out in 2017. So, like, a teenager in the, 2010s in New York. Like, it's so specific to that, like, life. And I feel like there's so many things that I loved about both Booksmart and Lady Bird that I feel like it kind of made me sad that we don't get to have stories like that with people who are not of color. Like, I had live tweeted when I watched Lady Bird, because it was a thread that was going on Twitter that was like, coming of age stories, like, what's your opinion? And Lady Bird was on there, and I remember that Lady Bird was on Netflix. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna watch this. So I watched it, and I did, like, a tweet of my thoughts about the movie. And my biggest thing, or something I said when I was watching it, was that her virginity storyline was very similar to my virginity storyline, in that, for me, when I lost my virginity, it was not that big of a deal. It was just like, oh, okay. And then I moved on with my life. And I really loved that was the storyline that they went with, because virginity storylines, I'm going to do a whole video at some point about virginity storylines, because it really irks me, the purity culture that's surrounding storylines about virginity, because it's almost always very Christian, like, light, or religious light, or misogynistic in undertone. And I really hate that, because a lot of people have moved past a place of putting so much weight on virginity, and I feel like we should be moving to a place where we're putting less weight and importance on virginity. And you see so many young adult stories that just, they want to stay in that purity culture, and it just irritates me. But there's so many things that happened in both of those movies. And Lady Bird is such a freaking weirdo, right? And I related so much to who she was as a character. Like, I felt like I had never really seen a YA, like, protagonist who was very strange, like, who did things that were, like, weird, who was very blunt and upfront, and maybe said the wrong things, or, like, was not, like, timid or shy, who wasn't, like, outrageously beautiful, but, like, wasn't, like, kind of regular or plain looking, and you're like, why is everybody in love with her? Like, she was a normal looking person who, like, had normal interests, and, like, was really into the things that she was really into, and, like, had parents that, like, I think they did the trope of the, loving dad and the nagging mom, but, like, just had, like, a very normal, relatable life, but was very freaking strange, like, very weird. And, like, I wish that we had more black girls that could do that we could have more storylines with black girls who are very weird, or very strange, or very, unique to the genre. Like, people praise these stories, both Lady Bird and Booksmart. I keep saying Lady Bird and Booksmart, for being, like, a wake-up call, or a freshness to the genre. But I feel like you could get that same freshness if people would just simply make space for people of color to tell their stories. Like, there's so many stories that I could say from, like, my childhood that was very uneventful, very boring, that would make an interesting story, because you've never seen a movie starring a black girl who are doing these things. Like, you couldn't have a Lady Bird starting a black girl. You couldn't have a Booksmart with a black girl. And the specific thing about Booksmart, actually, that pissed me off is the fact that the movie was trying to be like this feminist, like, power movie or whatever. But there was literally no black girls in the entire movie. Not in the background. The teacher, obviously, Jessica Williams is black, but she maybe had 5 lines in the whole movie. Like, there were no black teenage girls in this movie at all. Not in the background, not a side character, not nowhere. And no other race of women got a speaking role except for white women. White girls, the white teenage girls were the only people who had a speaking role in this movie. Every girl who had a speaking role in this movie was white. Like, that's blatant. That's blatant. You cannot tell me you went through the entire process of writing and directing and casting and shooting and did not notice that the only girls that you allowed to have speaking roles in this movie were white. Like, it's just, I don't know, man. I won't stop watching YA movies or coming of age stories because I do really love coming of age stories. And like I've said in other videos, I just feel like that time period of your life is so important and is so like, it just makes you who you are. Like, the things that people like to act like once they get past a certain age, that there's stuff that happens to them when they were kids or a child, like they've moved on. But your childhood really defines who you are. Like, it tells you how you interact with people, how you like develop relationships and handle relationship issues and handle conflict, and how you relate to the world is all built in your childhood, and it's all affected by things that happen in your childhood. And I feel like the coming of age, genre is such an important genre because it allows people who are in that time period to see that the things that they're going through are not like unique to them, that there are people who are dealing with, mean parents who don't treat them the way they want to treat it, or like feelings of loneliness, or, even like storylines about LGBT groups, like being able to see that, okay, so I'm not weird if I have these sort of feelings, or normalizing feeling dating in high school or not dating in high school, like all kinds of different things that you can, like, you struggle with, or you're like stressed out about why you're in high school, why you're in elementary school, why you're in middle school, and you see people on TV or in movies who are going through the same things that you're going through, and you realize that it's like a universal experience. It's not just something that you're going through, that everybody is insecure, that everybody, is scared and confused and don't know what's going on. Like, it's such an important genre, and it's so disheartening to me that it's still so white. Like, we're at this place where we're making these progressive, like, feminist movies in the genre, but they're still so white. Like, they're still so white. And the thing that annoys me about that is a lot of the time, people feel like diversity is enough to just have, black friends or black backgrounds or black people with like speaking roles. But like, you have to have people of color, not just black people. I keep saying black because I am black, but like, not just black people of color in general in the center of these stories. You have to have more stories with them as the protagonist, with them as the person that you're supposed to care about and empathize with them as the star. Because when you have this mentality, the whole TikTok thing of like the main character syndrome or whatever, like, white girls have this main character syndrome because they are constantly made to feel like they are the main character in every storyline. And like, it's because they do be the main character in every storyline. You have real life people of color who grow up feeling like with their white friends that they can't be the ones that is the most important, or the one that has the spotlight, or the one that people care about or love or want to like be around. They have to play the second fiddle. They have to play ethnic best friend TM. And it's like, make more movies with people of color as the star. Like, I'm sick of it. Like, I'm really, honestly, truly sick of it. It's just frustrating. Premature and Still in the Spades were the last two that I watched. I can't even remember what another YA starring a black girl that came out recently. The only thing that's in my head is Dope, but that's only because that movie was also in the thread, and also I hate Dope. It's a very terrible movie. I don't know. I guess it's just a rant on how in 2020 we can have these progressive movies and they're still so white. And then the thing, like, they have all this marketing around them about being progressive. They have this marketing around them about being feminist films, but they're leaving out people of color. Like, at this point, and this is no shade to white girls, I love y'all dearly, but at this point, we don't need any more white girls in YA. We don't need any more. There's enough stories they can watch Booksmart, they can watch Lady Bird, they can watch Clueless, they can watch Mean Girls, they can watch whatever freaking movies they want to watch, because it's 5 million of them. Give us some new ones. With brown girls, with black girls, with Asian girls, like with native girls, like with island girls, like something. I don't know. It just really annoyed me when I was watching Booksmart, because I really liked the movie. Like, I found it really funny. I found the main characters really interesting, and you could tell, I think the part that was really pissed me off about Booksmart, honestly, truly, is that you can tell that it was very heavy-handedly a feminist film. Like, it was very capital F white feminism. Like, it was giving, like, lean-in feminism. It was very much giving capital W, capital F white feminism. And, like, I don't understand how you can call yourself a feminist and also be racist, because it's blatantly racist for them not to have a single person who is not a white girl have a speaking role. That's blatantly racist and egregious. Like, it's just ridiculous. I don't know, man. But that's it. That's all my thoughts. Is all I have to say about the thing. Please subscribe, like this video if you like this content. If you want to see me do more content like this, then please let me know in the comments what movies you would like me to watch or in review, or like what like genres you think I should give my opinions on, because I can give my opinions on other genres. I watch a lot of TV, I watch a lot of movies, I have a lot of opinions. I didn't even talk about the TV YA dramas, because honestly and truly, it's a little bit ridiculous. I can't even tell you a single show on the air right now that's starring a monoracial black girl. I can't tell you a single one. I can't tell you not one. That's wild. I can't even tell you a single show. If there's one, tell me in the comments, because I'd love to watch it, but I can't tell you a single show that's starring a black girl that is not biracial. And again, that's not shade to the biracial girls either, but